are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast, the 250 of the College Loop Podcast. We are halfway to 500. I am Dylan Larck, watching on Twitter, here to talk to you about the latest Auburn athletics. But it is Tuesday, which means we're going to be covering Auburn basketball as well, because their schedule has been finalized. Actually, finalized last week, but because of how the pregame show comes out and the Sunday live stream reacting to the football game, I'm going to talk about it today. Also have SEC power rankings have been updated. Auburn no longer inside my top 10. And the Hugh Freeze presser, which we're going to go over in just a second because of the fact some wild things were said. But before we get into that, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We are always doing things over here at the College Loop, and it's fun over here. So with that being said, Hugh Freeze held his press conference yesterday and was on Tiger Talk last night. And yeah, it was something. He said some things, really threw his the players kind of under the bus for execution purposes during Saturday's game. I'm just kind of bewildered by how it kind of came out. So starting off with the facts, and I think this is the most grueling part of what he said yesterday. Payton Thorne is still going to be the starting quarterback going into the New Mexico game. And apparently it's because he's the best performer at practice, which, yes, I understand. Practice makes perfect and all this stuff. If you practice well, you play well. But the thing with Payton Thorne is he's practicing well and he ain't playing well. 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions against Cal is not what you want to see out of your fifth-year senior quarterback. It's really abysmal that he's still going to be taking over the quarterback job for the foreseeable future. Don't know what it would take, but Hank Brown, it was said by Hugh Freeze that Hank Brown was in the film study and was also noticing the plays not going the correct way, and also going to have his fair share of reps this week during practice, because New Mexico is not a team that you should bat an eye about. They're not. With how this team played last week, I'm not going to give Auburn the benefit of the doubt over any of them. If they give me any reason, the only team I'm like, oh, this is a for sure win right now is ULM. And even then, I could be persuaded out of that very quickly if I see this offense step on the field like they did against Cal ever again. But yeah, so Payton Thorne is going to be a starting quarterback going into Mexico, and I'm still on the fence on how I feel about Hank Brown not getting a snap against Cal. I mean, I guess the game was close, but the game didn't feel close. That was a 7-point loss. It felt like it was a 20-plus point loss. And I think at some point you have to realize, because going into a little further about what Hugh Freeze said, he said the coaches only made one bad play call during that entire game. I don't know what play it was, but he said the coaches, him, Nix, everyone else in the offense, whoever helps out with the offensive play calling, Ken Austin, all them, only had one play during that game where he put it on the coaches. He put it on the play calling. The rest of it, he said, was on execution with the players. You see that. You saw the 4 interceptions. I don't know how many of those plays could have been that. I mean, if all 4 of them or not. Also the 6 interceptions that it could have been had some of them gotten called back. But I still don't understand where you're coming from. And a practice does not matter in the long run if the player is not performing well on the field. If they're practicing well Monday through Friday and they aren't playing well on Saturday, that is not a recipe for success. Something is not clicking. Something is not going right into the transition to on-the-field results. Hank Brown clearly has been performing well in practice. That's why he is the backup quarterback. That's why he was going into this year. He was the third string. Then he won the job against Holden Garner, who is another practice legend last year. He was one of the better quarterbacks at practice, and kind of saw through that. Holden Garner never transitioned onto the field either. So going into this season, I still don't know what is going to need to happen for Payton Thorne to sit down and let Hank Brown take over. It is baffling to me that after that game that it's not more of a question than it already is. And of course, Hugh Freeze is going to be one to kind of stay true to his guys. He's pro Payton Thorne all the way through, which, at some aspects of it, you kind of admire it, because I can't lie. If I was a coach, I don't know how I would react if my quarterback had 1 touchdown and 4 interceptions. I probably would have benched him after the third one. It just wasn't his game. And sit there and hope that, maybe at some point towards the end of the season, or, probably by, next week, you see a more improved Payton Thorne. You see a Payton Thorne who is making reads, who is playing as if playing like what we thought he was going to do after the Alabama A&M game. We basically kind of got tricked into thinking that Payton Thorne was a much improved quarterback, that he was this new look Payton Thorne, but it seems as if Payton Thorne is just Payton Thorne. But Hugh Freeze is going to stay true to his guy. Hopefully, he's hoping that Payton Thorne reacts to it in practice. He comes back this week and he just kind of fixes everything, and he finds out that maybe there is more than one wide receiver on the field, because per the injury reports, it does look as if Cam Coleman and Xavier Miller are both being called doubtful for the game. I'm trying to remember. I think it was Justin Hokason that reported that last night. So yeah, you're down your number one target. You're down your highest graded tackle thus far, and you're going to have a new look offensive line going into the New Mexico game. You're going to have, according to Hugh Freeze, a lot smaller of a playbook going against New Mexico, and you hope that's not what you hope that's enough. But ultimately, I don't know. It's hard for me to look at what I saw on the field Saturday and give the benefit of the doubt to Payton Thorne. It's really hard for me to do. And I don't want this to be a whole Payton Thorne bash week, because it's slowly turning into one, and the whole fan base and everybody around Auburn is just anti-Payton Thorne right now because of the fact that he didn't give anyone a reason not to be. 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions is not a recipe for success against anybody. If you play against a better team than Cal, you'll lose by more than 7. The fact that Auburn was still in the game, despite the fact the offense was turning over the ball 5 times, is a testament to how good the defense can be. But whenever you get down the line, you get Georgia and you get Missouri and you get throw A&M in there, throw Alabama in there, throw Oklahoma in there too, throw Arkansas in there. You're not going to just lose by 7. You're going to lose by a lot more if you cannot get the offense figured out. A good defense only works if you compare it with at least a mediocre offense. What we got from Cal was not mediocrity. That was just bad. And I don't know if anyone asked the question of why there was a lack of run plays being called. But the fact that only one bad play call was called kind of surprised me, because what I saw on Friday, I mean, it looked like a mixture of everything going on. But yeah, that's all Hugh Freeze really had to say that I kind of found out is important. I think that you're looking at a Payton Thorne offense going to this week and going to Arkansas probably, because I don't think Auburn loses to Mexico, but they're a team that don't be surprised if they're in the game late if this offense isn't doing much. And New Mexico struggles against the run. This is the perfect week to just let the run game do all the talking, which might annoy a lot of people, including myself, if the offense comes out in the field on Saturday and just runs the ball, because they should have been doing that all along. Hugh Freeze has said extensively on paper, on record, on everything, that the run game is the best part of this offense, and if it is, he hopes it would be. and we've not seen the run game get utilized. I don't know if that's a testament to how bad the O-line is or just that he's trying to show off the wide receivers. The Cal game looked like a, hey, look at my talent that I have a wide receiver game. That's what it felt like. And you force throws. Your senior quarterback, fifth-year senior quarterback, forced throws down the field through 4 interceptions, and Auburn loses to a team that they have more talent than and that they were favored to win by 12. I think that you're going into this week with a very, very small, short, little baby leash on Payton Thorne. If anything even resembles what happened last week in practice and on the field Saturday, I think it should be an immediate Hugh Freeze. Or Hank Brown. Sorry, wrong H name. Because it just... I just could not believe that it came down to that, and it's still, and I guess Payton Thorne does have the talent rushing wise over Hank Brown. Hank Brown is going to be a guy that's not going to move out of the pocket as much, but if he can make the correct reads on the field, he can get the ball out quickly. We saw Fernando Mendoza was getting rushed every single time he touched the ball, and he was making throws. He was making slant route throws, the out routes, every single route he made it inside the pocket, even when he was under duress. He made a great 30-yard dot down the field as soon as Eugene Asante laid into him. There is no way that you cannot expect anything different or anything to stay the same with a different quarterback in, because there's a different level of play. You can hand the ball off more with Hank Brown. He is going to be your more pass-first guy. He can look down the field. He also has the best deep ball out of all of the quarterbacks on the roster. Maybe it's time to go with the guy who has the best deep ball over the guy who just performs well in practice. But I guess you can't skip out on the dual threat ability. But I guess if you want to get the dual threat guy and you want to see how your other quarterbacks play out, Walker White. He's the best. He'd be the second best dual threat on the team right after Payton Thorne. So if it was up to me, it'd be Hank Brown, which I think is time. So that does it for the Hugh Freeze presser. Sadly, we were going to go into this week with a Payton Thorne at the quarterback position. But Hank Brown's going to get his reps, and if there's any time for Hank Brown to take the job for Payton Thorne, it's right after what happened against Cal. So with that, SEC power rankings time. Before we get into that, I'm going to go into a little ad break. And on this other side, we are going to power rank the SEC. Not a lot of changes, but some major changes in everyone's favorite orange and blue Tiger team. And then after that, we're going to talk about the men's basketball non-conference schedule. So we'll be right back.
Are you tired of having to rummage through just clothes after clothes after clothes, looking for something to wear? Are you tired of your friends making fun of you for your terrible fashion sense? Well, do we have the shirt for you? Go to thewarreport.com, get your laptop out and do it right now. Go to the shop and get your very own Feelin' Loopy t-shirt as well as your college loop hat, and you can get both of them for only $25 each. Plus shipping and handling, of course. But with that, now back to your regular scheduled program.
And of course, you can get that on thewarreport.com. Go to the shop. First page is the college loop hat. Second page is the Feelin' Loopy t-shirt. 2 most comfortable items you're ever going to wear in your entire life. Halloween is coming up. What better thing to go as than a looper, a fan of the loop, if you will. So with that, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Leave your thoughts on Payton Thorne. What do you think? Do you think Hank Brown should get that start right away? Do you think that they're just going to wait and throw him into SEC play? Because that very well might happen if something does not go right. There's a chance that Hank Brown's first career start is going to either be Oklahoma, Georgia, or Missouri. One of those three, which sadly does not bode well for a freshman quarterback unless he comes out and balls out. The benefit of the doubt, the doubt is there if he gets thrown into the mix against those teams. Hopefully, well, Missouri would work out because it would have a bye week, so we'd have 2 weeks of preparation for that. But you get thrown in versus Georgia, yeah, it doesn't look well. All right, so SEC power rankings starting from number 1. No shocker here, Georgia. Number 2 is Texas. I guess this is my pick for who's going to go to the SEC championship. I have Georgia and Texas like playing 3 times this year. Regular season, SEC championship, and then, of course, the college football playoffs. They're the 2 best teams in the SEC, and it's not particularly close. Number 3, I have Missouri. I still think they're one of the dark horses to win the SEC this year. Number 4, I'm on the fence about my 4 through 6. I think you can interchange any of these guys. But 4, I have Alabama. 5, I have Tennessee. 6, I have Ole Miss. 7, I have LSU. I'm still kind of holding off on them until I can see them play against real competition. Or I guess losing to USC, kind of see where USC kind of stands. They're just right there. South Carolina has an opportunity to change that. Number 8, I have Oklahoma. Number 9, I have Vanderbilt. 10, I have Texas A&M. 11, I have South Carolina making the jump up because they played well, very well. They played very well on Saturday against Kentucky, and I think they've played the best out of the teams below them. Number 12, I have Auburn, who absolutely just crapped themselves in front of everybody on ESPN2 at 2:30 p.m. last Saturday. They just absolutely did not look like a coherent team. 13 is Kentucky. I'm still getting ever so low on Kentucky. And it's proven me right, and I'm so glad to have that happen. 14, I have Arkansas, who performed kind of very well against the top 25 team, a team that won't be in the top 25 by the time the season ends. 15, I'm Mississippi State. 16 is the Florida Gators, a team that still has a coach on the hot seat. But they threw in their true freshman quarterback, and he performed very well against Stanford. So jury's still out on where Florida is going to stand. I think DJ Lagway is the most talented quarterback on that roster by far. He's one of the most talented quarterbacks in the country. And I don't know, maybe he can change Florida for the better. So yeah, that's my SC Power rankings. Auburn is currently standing at number 12, dropping a whopping, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4 spots after how they played against Cal. South Carolina jumping up 5 spots after how they played against Kentucky. So that's my SC Power rankings. Remember, Thursday show, pregame show, previewing all of week 3. Got South Carolina, LSU, got Wisconsin, Alabama. And we're also going to be talking about Auburn, New Mexico as well. So get ready for that on the Thursday show. And then, of course, don't forget Sundays we'll be reacting to the Auburn Tigers. So men's basketball schedule, the non-conference schedule has officially been finalized. Going through it. So November 6th, Auburn will start the season against Vermont. And then in 3 days after that, November 9th, they'll be taking on Houston. November 13th, Kent State. November 18th, North Alabama. November 25th to the 27th is the Maui Invitational, which we've talked about extensively about how that could shake out for Auburn. Then you have December 4th, you have Duke. You have Richmond on December 8th. Ohio State on December 14th. Georgia State on December 17th. Purdue on December 21st. And then Monmouth on December 30th. So that non-con schedule is absolutely ridiculous. So you're playing all of your big games on the road. So Duke, Houston, the Maui Invitational, Ohio State, and Purdue are all going to be played elsewhere. Other teams, you get a nice little chance to watch Auburn and have a nice win at home early. I still think if Auburn only comes out of a non-conference schedule with only 2 losses, I think that still speaks volumes to how good this team is going to be going down the line. Of course, Houston, Purdue, Duke, and everyone in the Maui Invitational because UConn is there. If Auburn finds a way to be undefeated by the end of non-conference play, I'm going to be booging to the max after this. I know people are already getting ready for basketball season as we stand, so that's a lot of fun that we're already skipping ahead. But yeah, I'm super excited for basketball. This non-conference schedule is absolutely ridiculous. SEC schedule is going to be awesome. Auburn has the opportunity to do some damage this year, finally. I think this is the most coherent roster we've seen thus far, and I think I've said that almost every year, but you have so many seniors on this team. You have Janai Broome back. You have every single weapon at your disposal. Auburn just needs to put it all on tape. They just need to get prepared. They need to play all 2 halves. I almost said all 4 quarters, all 2 halves. And I mean, you have four guards who can all switch in and out. You have a plethora of forwards, and you have the best two big man combo in the country in Dylan Cardwell and Johni Broome. November 6th, the season starts, and it's time to start getting to the Final Four again, kind of thing. That's kind of where I'm at. Auburn is kind of time to get back to that. So that does it for this time of the College Loop Podcast. I'm Dylan Larck. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe right here. Leave your thoughts. Where do you think Auburn basketball will start the season at in their non-conference schedule, as well as leave your thoughts on the Auburn, New Mexico game. Because we'll be previewing that on the Thursday show. And also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe again. I can't overstate it enough. I'm going to say it every single time. We're getting so close to 900 subscribers on the channel, so that'd be awesome. And also, don't forget that if you're enjoying the video version of the show, you might also enjoy the audio version of the show as well on Spotify Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. And, of course, we follow social media on TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, the works, all of that, the College Loop. I think I just threw YouTube in there. Facebook is what I meant to throw in there. And, of course, check us out literally everywhere else. Just look at the College Loop and go follow it everywhere. But, of course, with all being said, this has been the College Loop Podcast. And, as always, War Eagle.